Welcome to the Solmanac. Hey everyone, Sol here. This is my art journaling series. I have these different pieces, paintings, stories, mermaids or ghost stories or fairies, what have you. But then I make some pieces, like this one I'm going to share, that are just purely from the sketchbook. They just take me to a place. An art journal is kind of a cross between a diary and a sketchbook. It's where you just test out ideas. A lot of times what you'll see is maybe the piece or the sketch, and then maybe they'll write pieces of or thoughts in there, and these can just be freewheeling thoughts. Maybe they have something to do with the drawing, or maybe it's just what the drawing inspired them to say, which is just one of those organic things that I love so much in the process. And so I thought, maybe the billionth artist to think this, but why not do a video art journal? I am doing my sketches and you're seeing the process, and then maybe you're getting a little bit of the inside of my mind and my thoughts, and maybe it's creative or maybe it goes somewhere. I hope you enjoy it. This was done on, I'm not sure exactly the pounds of the paper, kind of a thick mixed media type of paper, and it's got this nice grain, almost like a parchment. And I find it ideal for painting, but you can do some drawing, which is mostly what I did. I took the dipping fountain pen, basically got to draw this. This is a sycamore tree, one of my most favorite trees. This particular one was in my life a lot, and I wanted to capture it. I wanted to explore it. I kind of added the background because I didn't like the kind of office background behind the tree. So this is one of the beautiful things about art, and it's a great exercise. You do reference, which I think every artist should do, and any person should do it. Maybe make your own background around it. Kind of a fun exercise. And then of course you never know who comes visiting you. Mew. Mew. So that was pretty great to just have this little guy pop up. One of the reasons I wanted to use this paper, it's been treated to be this kind of nice earthy tan color because I wanted to work with highlights. So I actually took, instead of the black ink, I dipped this pen in white ink, and then I got to play with these designs. And then after that, the last thing was I took gouache paint and made this really kind of nice vanilla sky, or this autumn sky. So that's that. Let's go relive the process of creating. I will see you on the page. September Sycamore Sorcery. I always come to this spot. About this time of year is the best. I love Halloween. Or at least I used to. Can't help loving it as a child. You think you hate being scared like that. Then a few years later, you learn it's a fun scared. Usually it's because you learn there's the other type of scary. Getting hurt, losing loved ones, war, you know. Then you enjoy all the October decor. Then it gets crazy. It used to be weird, but it's not anymore. But then there's September. We always have September. It captures the something before. It's the beautiful month existing between the worlds. The death of summer, the rise of autumn. It's what October once was. Before all the commercialism, before the Tim Burtonism. Before Spirit of Halloween stores cast a shadow by way of the cement pillars of abandoned strip mall spaces in these hollow towns of a dying US of A. Before October got over-caffeinated on pumpkin lattes and drunk on slutty Halloween parties, there is September. When the Indian summer sun reaches out her witchy fingertips to touch my face one last time. So I come to this spot, under my favorite sycamore. And who's this here? Someone is acting like he doesn't know me. Come on, Toby, let's go. What are you doing hiding behind old man Sycamore, pretending you don't know your own warlock? Okay, we'll play this game, at least until supper time. Then you will tire of the trick and return for the treats. Then you'll purr, such a little demon. I remember when you were just a tiny kitten. Couldn't even open your eyes. Those big old glowing eyes. Sweet little October. Alrighty, October. You have fun. I'll see you inside. Toby. And thus ends this strange little tale that sprouted up from a little reference drawing of a tree in my art journal. I feel like it's another example of what can happen when you get into one of these things. I think that there is a flow state that creatively flourishes if you get into the fun and the sense of play of one of these art journals. And I think I would like to say that everyone should have one of these, and it's only limited by what you put in or don't put in. And I think in this day and age, we are always dealing with balance and chaos. And I think creativity is a wonderful way to take the chaos that we all feel is in the world and it's churning up in ourselves. Maybe some of us, maybe some people just don't feel this way, but I do think that having an art journal is just one of the best ways to express creativity. You don't have to do anything with it later. You can just draw until you want to write. And sometimes I write on the drawing itself. And this is a wonderful way to not feel like you have to finish this and make it perfect. You just kind of let loose. You do that enough, and then sometimes it's just as soon as you touch the page of that art journal, you are ready. You're just in that state to just create and have fun. And I think with this exercise, what I wanted to do was not just work with reference, but I wanted to do reference with the dipping fountain pen. Because the fountain pen, like any pen really, you can't erase, so it's the point of no return. And I know I've talked about that before, but with reference, you kind of have to get a little inventive with how you're going to bring this subject to life. With pencil, I can hide behind various shading, and I can make it almost feel like a painting, but if all I can do is do lines, I'm going to have to really pay attention every step of the way, because if I screw things up, and it is easier to screw things up, I can't go back and change it. And there are points where as I just keep going, I'm just going to enter this state where it's like my instincts are taking over. And this comes from doing it a lot. And that is another reason I recommend you just get some means to play around constantly. I have a sketch pad too. To be fair, I think personally that they're different. In my experience, it has helped me to differentiate them. I'll tell you what I mean. The sketch pad is where I might do a whole bunch of different sketches, and they're throwaway sketches, and maybe I'm not even finishing them, or I'm not even working on them being finished. For instance, if I'm doing a human figure in a drawing or painting, and I'm telling one of my ghost stories, and I want them to be in a certain position, well, I'm probably going to take a few pages up, like just playing with that position. And then once I have that position, that's the end. That's it. And that's all that sketchpad is for. An art journal is something where I'm going to enjoy perusing it And it's something that I just get to kind of make for me, and I get to give appreciation to dust all these strange ideas that come through. And maybe they don't have a full-on home in the other things I do, but they get to be expressed here. And it lives somewhere between all the unfinished pieces in a sketchpad and the finished pieces that I might sell later. You know, prints or originals or limited edition prints or pillows or whatever. That said, this one actually turned into some nice merch too, but I really didn't think it was going to turn into something, but it just kept going. As you can see, now I'm adding the white ink, which was why I wanted to work on this paper, because I wanted to play with highlights. And specifically the subject matter of September, because I think September is this beautiful light that changes the year. I feel like it announces itself in many ways. The leaves start to turn. Some of the days get cooler, though you're getting into Indian summer. But I feel the light is different in September. And I wanted to kind of capture that almost haunting, ghostly kiss of sunlight as the day starts to wane. I feel there's magic in the air, combined with this little magic cat that appeared in the sketch, in the initial pencil sketch. The sorcery kind of came up, and then I started to get this story. What is this cat doing here? And look at the view of this tree. Look at my point of view of this tree. Maybe this is the point of view of a person telling a story, so maybe it's not the cat's story. And it was just so interesting because I had so much fun doing this. I think days after I was done, there was a nice little spell that started to come out of the cat's mouth, and I could hear it because I was just in that state of just seeing where this takes me. So when it was done, it was crazy because it was like haunting me in this way where it was not done. So then next thing I knew, I had this little incantation from this cat, or an incantation, I should say, which I'll share later. And again, it's just to illustrate like all these fun things that happen when you're just drawing and painting in an environment that you make for yourself that is about play and freedom. I think the other aspect is just the way that one sees the world, because it's such a strange time we're in now. I mean, we even have AI exploding and showing us that there is now a way to problem solve our situations, almost regardless of what they are, in a way that is 5 or 10 times more advanced than they were 2 years ago. This is a wild time to be in. I mean, we're in this place of chaos everywhere. There's order and there's balance. I mean, it's an interesting time to watch the two. I mean, every time has balance and chaos, but I have to say we are in such a fast-paced technological age. I think one of the themes of Ghost in the Gaslight is old things that connect us to who we are, who came here before us, what our ancestors did to get us here. And I think whenever we enter into the old things, we play with old tools. And I think art is a wonderful way to do that because it is functional and it's not functional. If you enter into something functionally and you're using the tools of old, sooner or later, you're going to have to face how inconvenient that is. But when you're talking about art, I think that is a great way to reconnect with something that is bigger than you or I and has been here for a long time. And it also has the beautiful ability to help you express your voice. There are so many conflicting messages all the time now. You have to find the things we all do of, well, what do I want to hold on to? What is good value here? What isn't good value? What can I ignore? And this was such a wonderful journey to figure out, like to really get to know this tree that I admired in nature on such a profound level that I just kept playing around. In my opinion, the sky wasn't popping as much. So then I thought, well, it's either going to be that way every time I look at it, or why don't I do something to that'll possibly ruin it. But you know what? It's an art journal. It's okay. I can play. So then I brought out gouache paint. And one of the things I love about gouache paint, in case you didn't notice, is when I touch the brush to the palette, I didn't add any new paint. That's all old paint, and all I have to do is add water, which is part of the beauty of that sense of play that a medium like gouache can bring. So here is where I get to kind of make the sky pop, and I don't know about you, but I find that so satisfying, the way that the paint just takes over the emotion of the piece, and the sky starts to bring out the texture and the shadows of the tree, because now the tree is noticeably different from the rest of the page. And then I got to do this magic autumn hint of sunlight on the leaves. And let's recap before we get to the magic spell, the incantation, if you will. This first tool, of course, was the pencil. It's a 2B. It's graphite. It's meant to be an undersketch because it doesn't read that well on the paper. The main focus was always going to be this dipping fountain pen, and I used India ink, which is waterproof. And that's handy for me because sometimes, well, I never know if I'm going to put it into a gouache painting or acrylic or water soluble. And then I added the white ink on top of it. Another reason why I wanted the black ink to be India ink. And originally I thought I was just going to get to the highlighting and it was just going to be great, but it, as you saw, I felt like it needed more. And that's when I decided to risk the painting or risk the piece and turn it into a painting. And I added out the brush. I really didn't know what I was doing, so I'm very glad it turned out well. And then I added the gouache using the palette. And now let's give it away to the incantation.
Soft, fur black as night, morning light, kissing leaves that come to rest to the wild below, where comfy grasses grow. My silent purr is roaring, my sycamore sorcery soaring. Invisible I shall be now, behind this great white tree. Meow!
White Whiskers, October 2023. All right, and then we have Sycamore Sorcery. Meow. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would absolutely love your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you have anything else you want to add, maybe you have a similar experience, or maybe you are thinking of doing reference, or whatever you're thinking. I'd love to hear it. And leave me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This way, the next time there is a ghost storytelling or a how-to or a gauntlet, which is my other series where I challenge myself at something artistic, you'll know when it's happening. All right, well, I will see you on the next one. Take care. Meow. 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 Meow.